Hello, everybody. I'm Siren Jag. I'm a makeup enthusiast, and I'm a commentator and a panel hopper on the drama end of the true crime community here on YouTube. I'm also a part time comedian and musician, and I do pretty much anything else I want here on YouTube. And today, I'm going to be playing with the Sorceress Palette. Ooh, this thing has been presented to me for weeks and weeks and weeks on my Facebook because, as we all know, Facebook can read your mind. But this thing is from Jolie Beauty, and it is from an indie company. And when you look at an advertisement once, it's going to stick with you forever. So you either block it or you buy from it. And let's see if I can get it from the package. I won. Now, this is what it looks like. Ooh. The lovely swampy greens and purples and duochromes. There's some pressed glitters, but we're going to try to avoid those because I don't want pressed glitters in the rest of my stuff. In the meantime, we're going to try to quickly tackle an overview of bullying. So you can see I've done the rest of my face already. I have on the standard Ritual Defeat primer. And for the foundation, I use the Almay Pressed Powder Foundation because why not use the most expensive primer you have with the oldest, worst foundation you have as it pills up. Now, for the contour shade, I used something out of the Mini Masquerade palette from Juvia's Place. For the bronzer slash blush, I used a Bare Minerals bronzer in the shade Kiss of Rose. And no, my Maud Rose did not give me a kiss. The highlighter is an Anastasia Beverly Hills highlighter, loose one in the shade Vegas. And I have on, for an eyeshadow base, the P. Louise base in the shade 00. There's all the standard intro stuff. Now, ready to get into this thing. Okay. Let's find a brush. Okay. For the usual episode, I would not normally dip into Wikipedia. However, I did check out all this, and this article here is quite solid. A certain someone in an argument that I had with her got quite offended because I used the term bully pulpit. As I said, that was where she was arguing from. However, the bully pulpit is a conspicuous position that provides an opportunity to speak out and be listened to. This term was coined by US President Theodore Roosevelt, who referred to his office as a bully pulpit, by which he meant a terrific platform from which to advocate an agenda. Roosevelt used the word bully as an adjective meaning superb or wonderful, a more common usage at the time at the turn of the 20th century, over 100 years ago. You're familiar with the phrase bully for you, meaning wonderful for you. Not bully as in a bully. And it was not my fault she was not familiar with this usage. Now, I will get through this as quickly as I can, whilst I'm applying things. Bullying is the use of force, coercion, hurtful teasing, or threat to abuse, aggressively dominate, or intimidate. This behavior is often repeated and habitual. One essential prerequisite is the perception by either the bully or by others of an imbalance of physical or social power. This imbalance distinguishes bullying from conflict. This is characterized by the following three criteria: hostile intent, imbalance of power, and repetition over a period of time. This is intended to hurt another individual physically, mentally, or emotionally. This could be individual, or it could be group bullying, also called mobbing, in which the bully could have one or more lieutenants who are willing to assist the primary bully in those activities. Bullying in school and the workplace can also be referred to as peer abuse. Individual bullying is usually characterized by a person behaving in a certain way to gain power over another person. A bullying culture can develop in any context in which humans interact with each other. In any context in which humans interact with each other. This may include school, family, workplace, home, neighborhoods, and also in contemporary culture, social media websites. In some places, like the United Kingdom, there is no legal definition of bullying, while some states in the United States have laws against it. Of course, that means some states don't. Bullying is divided into 4 basic types of abuse: psychological, verbal, physical, and cyber. Now, behaviors used to assert such domination may include, but are not limited to, physical assault or coercion, verbal harassment or threats, and such acts may be directed repeatedly toward particular targets. I believe they consider, when you're typing something out, I believe they consider that verbal. And rationalizations of such behavior sometimes include differences in social class, race, religion, gender, sexual orientation, appearance, behavior, body language, personality, reputation, lineage, strength, size, or ability. Of course, if bullying is done by a group, that's called mobbing. The word bully's been around since the 1530s. But the term has deteriorated and it took on its current form in around 1710. Verbal bullying might include derogatory name calling, nicknaming, spreading rumors, lying, threatening, yelling at someone, talking to them in a rude or unkind tone of voice, especially without justifiable cause, mocking someone's voice or style of speaking, um, laughing at someone, of course, in a mocking style, throwing up the middle finger, or similar body language to torture someone. Insulting someone. Verbal bullying, of course, the main weapon's the voice. It's actually more likely to be done by girls. In general, they're more subtle with it than boys. Girls use it as well as social exclusion techniques to dominate and control other individuals and show their superiority and power. However, there are also boys who are subtle enough to use techniques like that when they want to avoid the trouble that physically bullying someone can cause. Of course, by no means does this end when childhood ends. It's my bedtime. Relational bullying or social aggression is a type of bullying that uses relationships to hurt others. It also notes bullying done with the intent to hurt somebody's reputation or social standings. Cyberbullying uses technology to harass or threaten, embarrass, or target another person. When an adult is involved, it might meet definitions of cyber harassment or cyber stalking and may have legal consequences and involve jail time. This includes bullying by use of email, instant messaging, social media websites, text messages, and cell phones. Trolling behavior on social media is actually mobbing. Mobbing is bullying by a group, of course. In other contexts, it could be by a family, a peer group, a school, a workplace, neighborhood, or community. It's intended, of course, to force someone out through rumor or innuendo or intimidation or humiliation, discrediting or isolation. Now, I need some spray. Envy and resentment may be motives for bullying. Some bullies are arrogant and narcissistic. They can also use bullying as a tool to conceal their own shame or anxiety, or to boost their own self esteem. By demeaning others, the abuser feels self empowered. They may also bully out of jealousy or because they're bullied themselves. They may bully because they have inflated but fragile egos. Because they think too highly of themselves, they're often offended by criticisms of their actions. And they're offended when other people don't defer to them. And they react to this perceived disrespect with violence and insults. They may also view this as some form of entertainment. Some research indicates that adults who bully have authoritarian personalities combined with a strong need to control or dominate. It has also been suggested that a prejudicial view of subordinates can be a particularly strong risk factor. Now, thought this was interesting. Often, bullying takes place in the presence of a large group of relatively uninvolved bystanders. In many cases, it's the ability of the bully to create the illusion that they have the support of the majority present that instills the fear of speaking out in protestation of the bullying that is being observed by the group. Unless the quote unquote bully mentality is effectively challenged in any given group in the early stages, it often becomes the accepted or supported norm within the group. Unless action is taken somewhere, a culture of bullying, if you will, is often perpetuated within a group for months or years or longer. Bystanders who've been able to establish their own friendship or support group away from the bullying group have been found to be far more likely to actually speak out against the bullying. There's been research to suggest that interventions should focus on the belief that the bullying is morally wrong. Among adults, being a bystander in the bullying group has been linked to depression. Among victims of bullying, typically, victims are likely to be aggressive or lack social skills, think negatively, experience difficulties in solving social problems, or come from a negative environment, or be negatively or noticeably rejected or isolated by peers, but not always. Victims are often physically and mentally weak or easily emotionally distraught. They may also have physical characteristics that may make them easier targets for bullies, like being overweight or have some physical deformity. Boys are more likely victims of physical bullying, while girls are more likely to be bullied indirectly, like socially or emotionally. It was thought that lower levels of self esteem might be a predecessor to bullying, but in the case of cyberbullying, that's not necessarily the case. And of course, individuals who are persistently subjected to abusive behavior are at risk of stress related illness, which can sometimes lead to self harm. Those who've been the targets can suffer from long term emotional and behavioral problems, loneliness, depression, self harm ideations. Bullying is typically ongoing and not isolated. Common ways people try to respond are to try to ignore it, to confront the bullies, or to turn to an authority figure to try to address it. Ignoring it often does nothing and can even allow it to become worse. why it's important to address bullying early on, as that's when it's easiest to stop. Authority figures can be important in recognizing and stopping it and creating an environment where it doesn't continue. In many situations, however, they're untrained and unqualified, don't know how to respond, and can make it worse. In some cases, they even support the people doing the bullying, facilitating it, continuing, and increasing the isolation and marginalizing of the target. Some of the most effective ways to respond are to recognize that the behavior is taking place and creating an environment where it won't continue. The people being targeted have little control over which authority figures they can turn to and how such matters would be addressed. But often, the important thing is to find a counselor or psychologist who's trained to handle it. As always, with these mental health streams this month, I'll have links in the description. Now, how does this palette look? I think it's doing all right so far. Now, I don't know if you all noticed, but I made YouTube partner. Yay me! Thanks everyone who watched my videos to help me get to my 4,000 hours. Thanks you all who have stayed subscribed to me. 1,100 some of you. So in a little bit of a celebration, we're going to take a look at a certain someone's, without names, who've decided to continue being horrible people. As always, identities have been wiped out to protect anonymity. The first one's a doozy. I don't understand why they're in your business to begin with. If they dot like you or our community, then don't watch. Leave us alone. But they watch because they are obsessed with you, Natasha. Meaning Natasha Cooper, of course, who I was with discussing earlier. Okay. There's a little bit to unpack here. Let me just say the lack of self awareness of this person is a little telling. Is a little telling, yo. If they knew the sheer number of people that Miss Cooper spies on, the sheer number of people that Miss Cooper spies on and watches, the sheer number of streams that she watches, oh, excuse me, that she views clips on, we really know she's watching. Would she rethink this post? Would this person rethink this post? It's a she. Would she rethink this post? If Natasha doesn't like that person or their communities, then don't watch. 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 Hmm? The playing field has to be the same. These people came at you. You never knew them, so they made channels off your name. Okay. I bet you all did not know that the name of my channel is now Natasha Cooper Presents Siren Jag. ah, oh, the comedy. Channels off her name, huh? Her name's nowhere in my channel. I do my own thing. I do my face. I have 3 different um, playlists of content. I do tutorials. I do comedy. Hey, I have music on my channel from over 20 years ago. I'm gonna have to come back to that. That is really not happy. Making my nose water. Run. Or my eyes water and my nose run. Yeah, that word. The lies go on, no end in sight. Must be a result of continuous drug abuse, in my opinion. She has an entire following that believes all the lies she tells about you. Okay, that's about another creator who had an issue with drug abuse. Okay, we have an issue with logic here. We have a serious issue with logic here. It fixed one of my lights. Are they saying that all lies in the world, all lies in the world are a result of drug abuse? That's the logic. They're saying that lying is a result of continuous drug abuse. That is the logic. I don't think they realize the implications of their statement. They're saying lies are a result of continuous drug use. Are they saying when babies are crying because there's nothing really wrong with them, they just want to be picked up? Are they saying it's because they've had too much Tylenol? And plus, Natasha has told a boatload of big old untruths herself. about me. I don't even have to go any farther than that. Someone probably should have deleted that comment. I'm reading the BS here, and who is she to decide she and Lycan have a right to show patterns? This is YouTube, not a physics office. We'll start with that one. Apparently, she and Lycan Legion are not allowed to use math. No math for you two. None. No. No math. No math. I don't know what you thought of. No algebra for you. And statistics are right out. Let's see. She's threatened to kill you and fly to Florida to do so. She even said she'd celebrate if you died. How do you know that she won't show up at your house? She is, after all, raising money to fly there. Okay. I seriously doubt that anybody threatened to actually kill. To actually kill Natasha Cooper. And certainly, of course, I know who this person is referring to. And no one is going to divert themselves from a family vacation to Orlando, Florida. Make a massive detour up to the Floribama border to go to Natasha Cooper's residence. To go knocking on her door. To go commit murder with her children in tow. And then get arrested. And leave their children stranded. It's just not happening. It's not happening. I think she's referencing you saying her daughter was looking into the camera provocatively. You did not call her a whore, stupid. Yes, heard that plain as day. Okay. We all know what she was talking about. Some of us are old enough to remember the Love's Baby Soft magazine ads from the 1970s. Okay. And it involved a Way too young child. Looking into the camera provocatively. With a tagline involving enticing people. Some of us aren't stupid. And no, Natasha Cooper did not have to physically call anyone's daughter a whore to know what was meant. If you don't want to have your parenting called into question, then don't call other people's parenting into question. All she does is talk without thinking. A lot of her subs have gone to Lycan. She sold a miner's personal thoughts and feelings. How sick! I cannot stand GW. She's obnoxious and vile. Her entire channel is in multiple TOS violations. Okay, we're going to break this down slowly. Number one, all she does is talk without thinking. Well, same could be said about Natasha Cooper. Because she lost 3 separate channels, because of the results of her mouth running away with itself. Number two, a lot of her subs have gone to Lycan. Well, I mean, I guess that's possible, but where's the proof of that? You have a count on that? She sold a miner's personal thoughts and feelings. Well, that's a he said, she said thing. And besides that, why are you all giving Natasha a pass on this? Why are you all giving Natasha a pass on this? That journal was not supposed to be shared with anyone except maybe the caseworker. And she shared it with a chat, an entire chat. Blame the right person. Blame the actual leak. Blame the starter where the info got out. And I don't want to hear any crap about, well, Robbie's where the info actually got out between him and Mexi. It's like, no, Mexi's the where the info got out between Mexi and Robbie because he's the one who ran off the mouth. And that does not make Mariah the place where the info got out with her because she's a child. Natasha's the one who should have protected her, and she did not. She ran off her mouth and let that file go. She should have taken better care of her child, and she didn't. Start blaming her instead of third and fourth string information. And yes, they should be blamed for spreading it, but she should too. And she has taken zero responsibility for it, even when I gave her the opportunity to take that blame for it. And I said, do you not think Natasha blames herself? She said, oh, yes, I do. I blame myself for not giving it to the wrong person, and then they spread it. No, she didn't take any responsibility for herself at all. So blame her. Now, I cannot stand GW. She's obnoxious and vile. Her entire channel is in multiple TOS violations. In whose multiple TOS violations? In whose multiple TOS violations? Whose violations? Whose? Whose? GW has a channel. GW has a channel. I'm just saying, y'all. God knows where Natasha got this one. But there's a reason she's not getting memberships. You think she's willingly gonna let all that money for memberships go? But we're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that. Oops, that was my Facebook. But you all know my name anyway. So, yeah. They're all using your name to grow their channels, period. I just did a tryout of a makeup palette. I was going to be monetized either way. Might have just taken a little longer. But remember when I said we were getting to that? It's right now. Remember when I talked about getting a trademark on the name Natasha Cooper? Remember that? Remember that? As it turns out, there's already a way more famous Natasha Cooper who's an author from the United Kingdom. The talented Miss Cooper. Natasha Cooper fell into publishing, but she's really risen as a crime fictionist. She's a true crime author. Oh my. Oh, and not only is there that one, there's Natasha Cooper Esquire, an attorney with the U.S. Attorney's Office. Oh my. Squared. I have to admit, I giggled at the number of times I've tagged Natasha in my posts, and at the thought of the sheer number of times Natasha has been tagged in posts about less than up and up things that have happened regarding her business practices, and about how this woman has been seeing her name wow. Wow. And I'm betting that Miss Cooper's set of 1 to 3 attorneys have told her that she could not trademark her name because of this. Which is why she's itching to get back that true crime channel. Because she knows she can't trademark Natasha Cooper. She knows she can't trademark the Natasha Cooper. Because she isn't the Natasha Cooper. And if she were to try, she would get her butt sued off by these two much more famous Natashas Cooper. I didn't even have to do an actual search. I was looking up a picture for something else for the photo for the little picture I did earlier, and these two popped up. Like Whiskey said to someone, you're not creators, you're channel holders. I laughed and clapped with him on that one. Okay, I'll bite Whiskey. With every one of these cross the streams things, I've explored a palette. I've done a tutorial. I've explored a topic in psychology. I've done numerous relaxation streams. But Whiskey OG, I believe, has the entire Natasha community snowballed. He's doing the old Andy Kaufman routine. And if you don't know who Andy Kaufman is, I suggest you look him up. As I grew up over in Western Kentucky, where local Memphis wrestling was the law of the land. And I remember the Andy Kaufman Jerry Lawler feud from when it happened. You grew a community starting with true crime, not drama. They're so dumb. They want to be Natasha, but instead of being honest about it, they bash and slander her, even though they are now trying to source money the same way. Oh? Well, we're going to talk about this in a minute. Here's where Natasha thought she would make fun of me for my pronouncement that 90% of that audience from that true crime channel was still gone. First of all, she screwed up the percentage. She claimed I said 98%. That was wrong. And she claimed that they were gone because they didn't know where she was. She claimed it was because they didn't know where she was. She claimed they didn't know where she was. Okay, I'm going to guess that your true crime audience, Natasha, I'm going to give them more credit than you're willing to give them. And I'm going to say they know how to use the YouTube search bar. Okay? Let me come back over here to StreamYard. Let me come back over here to StreamYard. Let me just put in Natasha Cooper. And we'll see what comes up. The Natasha Cooper, your new channel, is the #1 result. The #1 result. Okay, just for shits and giggles, let's put in your true crime channel's name. True Crime with Natasha Cooper. Here's #1. True Crime with Natasha Cooper terminated. There you go. There, that video tells exactly what happened to your true crime channel. And then look here at result #4. Right here. Boom. Q&A with Mom. True Crime with Natasha Cooper. And here, video #6. Your statement. Your statement. Your statement. It was result #4 yesterday when I checked. Your statement on your daughter's channel. And the only reason it's #6 and not #4 is because of your stream that's on right now and an ad. Now, as far as the second one goes, I haven't slandered her once. I come bearing references, logic, and reason. And this is my first stream I've done since I've been monetized. Natasha, you are great at anything you set your mind on. Keep testing ideas and try them out. There's some grammar. Your subs are loyal and will continue to support. Are they loyal? Are they loyal? Are they loyal? Not only is the true crime audience not showing up, the Recline with Natasha audience, 2/3 of them aren't even showing up. And why should they? Look at what Natasha just did to Megan VR. I don't blame anybody for not wanting to be around that. It's easier to cut out. And there's a reason that Natasha didn't mention my statement that 2/3 of the Recline audience hasn't shown up. So those subs from the Recline channel weren't so loyal after all, were they? Were they? Unfortunately, GW is your Amber Heard. You and JD have a lot in common when it comes to this kind of defamation and slander. Oh? Were GW and Natasha married? Did GW poop in Natasha's bed? Did GW give Natasha the herd turd? She got the herd turd. So what exactly is in common? What exactly is in common? Their stupidity is deafening. It's also dangerous. They are doing G-Dub a disservice by not being honest with her. Look at how stupidity is spelled. Look at how it's spelled. That's all I got to say about that. It is like playing huger games. They're all sheep, just repeating hearsay. Yes, yes, just repeat all the hearsay. Yes. Okay, that's how do you play the huger games? I wonder. There's huge, and then there's huger. But let us all see all this hearsay that all the sheep are repeating. And I know exactly who said that. And the idea, the very idea that someone from NC's community, especially this person, would be calling anyone else out as being a sheep, just repeating anyone's anything. Repeating anyone's anything is comical. It is comical. Lycan should be off YouTube and in prison. Okay. Okay. I hate to tell these people, reading a child's journal is not a crime. How many mothers would be in jail? How many people uh, in this chain of property would be in jail if just reading this thing was a crime? If publicly reading this thing was a crime, how many people in this chain of stuff would be in jail? Okay, then the IQ of the sheep on those channels do not require logic. They are like reptile brains. Is there a sentence in that? Is there a sentence in that? The IQ, that's the subject of the sentence. The IQ do not require logic. They are like, the IQ do not, IQ, that should be IQ doesn't. So IQ doesn't require logic. But then they are like reptile brains. Uh, so it's a unnecessary run-on sentence. Doesn't have a period or a capitalization on the next sentence. Um, but then, God, and then this person's calling people sheep too. And then the very notion that this person is questioning anyone else's intelligence, okay? The very notion that this person is questioning anyone else's intelligence is just ridiculous. Ridiculous, okay? Tell me what other creator can get this many watching at noon Eastern time and even earlier on a Saturday. Girl, there were 600 people. Do you know how many people that PewDiePie has? Do you know? Do you know? Let's see. YouTube. PewDiePie. 111 million subscribers. Something tells me PewDiePie could start a stream at noon Eastern and even earlier on a Saturday and blow Natasha Cooper's numbers out of the water. Methinks a little perspective is in order. Natasha's channel has around 2,500 people. I'm just saying, yo. Stop being so worried about numbers. They're creepy watching your every move. Ooh. Ooh. Oh no, the creepy watching is gonna get you. It's gonna get you. And now, I did not redact Devil Mike because he's the only smart one around. He's like, it's a shame. Everyone deserves to be happier than this with all that's been thrown at us with lockdowns and just society being broken. And I agree, Devil Mike. You're the smartest one in the whole stream. This should be Recline with Devil Mike. It should be True Crime with Devil Mike. You should run the whole thing. You should be in that recliner. You need a new recliner so you can sit in it and it won't be bottomed out. You should run the whole damn thing. We all deserve to be happier, Devil Mike. And everyone fighting needs to take a cue from Devil Mike. And just because I had to be the one to highlight this and Natasha ignored it, Natasha's probably going to jump down Devil Mike's throat, which will be sad. So, folks, that's all I have for tonight. So, football is coming. I can't wait for fantasy football. I live for fantasy football. Again, I'd like to thank everybody for joining me. I will get tiers set up for memberships one of these days, if I ever get it figured out. In the meantime, the super chat button is active. As the super thanks buttons will be active. So, in the meantime, links for my Teespring and my Cash App are in the description, as always. If you enjoyed this content, feel free to throw a like on it. Subscribe if you're new. Hit the bell icon to be notified of my future posts. And of course, you know the drill. So thank you for watching.